This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Polar Vortex 2019, and this is a serious note. We got an email from one guy, no power since 4 a.m., no information, city, non-emergency, not helpful, actually ignorant when called. ComEd seems to always fail. This wasn't a surprise, but I don't know where that person is, but my sister texted me.
Uh-oh, what?
She's in Warrenville. She said that her neighborhood has no power.
Oh, that's dangerous.
So she's...
Where are they going to head?
She's going to my dad's place in Wheaton. Yeah. So that's one report in Warrenville. I just emailed this guy who emailed us about no power since 4 a.m. Maybe he's Warrenville area too, but if not, we'll report on where that is.
How long has your sister's power been out?
I don't know. She just texted me.
Oh, my God. That's scary, too, because then you don't have heat in your house, and then obviously your pipes can burst, and that's a whole other big problem.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
All right. So we'll, and I'm sure Mike Scott will as well, keep you updated on the impacts of the Arctic, actually worse than Arctic, Siberian, worse than Siberian,
No,
Mount Everestian,
it's
worse than Mount Everest.
It's so cold here.
How cold is it?
That it's warmer in the South Pole. It's warmer in Antarctica.
Yeah.
It's bad. We haven't seen these temperatures since, the 80s.
The flip side is, though, great day for a Segway tour around the lake.
Stop it.
No waiting. So
Well,
think
nothing's
about that.
open, too. Navy Pier's closed. The museums are all closed. No mail today.
We're open, and we're talking about the salient issues of the day. We've got a State of the Union address coming next week. And do we have a deal on border security funding coming to Trump's desk before that address? There is movement, underreported story, of course, because the D.C. press corps is hoping Republicans break bad on Trump. But 36 Democrat legislators went to Nancy Pelosi wanting to do a deal on border funding along the lines of what the president proposed the weekend before last. You've had Republicans, one report out yesterday, Republicans giving Trump the green light for a border wall emergency declaration if there is no deal struck between this bipartisan congressional contingent negotiating a deal. Also, to buttress the president's claim of the humanitarian crisis on the border, as well as the security crisis, Pentagon is readying to provide more troops to seal the Mexican border, particularly if Trump does invoke his emergency power, according to Acting Secretary of Defense Patrick Shanahan, who made that pronouncement yesterday. And remember, as we talked about, you've had the president identify a couple of weeks ago, and it now confirmed by multiple media outlets over the last few days, that you have yet another migrant caravan trying to make its way up through Mexico to the United States, perhaps numbering as great as 12,000. So against all that, the Democrats have selected their respondent to the State of the Union address. Always a tough role for anybody to do successfully, much less memorably. Stacey Abrams, the failed Democrat nominee for governor of Georgia in 2018. Stacey Abrams. Now, Cardi B apparently was unavailable. That was both my choice and Stephen Colbert's. And you'll remember she submitted an audition tape, which I found very compelling, just to refresh your recollection.
Hey, y'all, I just want to remind y'all, because it's been a little bit over 3 weeks, okay? It's been a little bit over 3 weeks. Trump is now ordering, as in summoning, federal government workers to go back to work without getting paid. Now, I don't want to hear y'all motherfuckers talking about, oh, but Obama shut down the government for 17 days. Yeah, for health care. So your grandma could check her blood pressure, and you could go check your in the gynecologist with no motherfucking problem. Now, I know a lot of y'all don't care because y'all don't work for the government or y'all probably don't even have a job, but this is really serious, bro. This is crazy. Like, our country is in a hellhole right now, all for a wall. Like, we really need to take this serious. I feel like we need to take some action. I don't know what type of action because this is not what I do, but I'm scared. This is crazy, and I really feel bad for these people that got to go to work to not get motherfucking paid.
See, if Cardi B would have given the response, it would have been memorable.
It was a response, all right.
Maybe she can write Stacey Abrams' response or collaborate. For more on State of the Union, the state of a border security funding deal, and the state of Cardi B's command of the English language, we're pleased to be joined by Diamond and Silk, the first ladies of punditry, host of The Viewer's View, and stars of the new documentary, Dummycrats. Ladies, Diamond and Silk, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having us. Don't forget the host of Fox Nation.
Oh,
we have a
excuse
show
me.
on Fox Nation, foxnation.com.
That's right.
All right, very good. FoxNation.com. That's they're moving a lot of their television hosts into that Fox Asian space too. So that's great that Diamond and Silk are there. Diamond and Silk, your reaction to the selection of Stacey Abrams to respond to Trump's State of the Union address next week? How do you receive that?
Well, first of all, I don't care if they get Stacey Abrams or the Pope. Yeah. Nothing is going to be able to help the Democrats because the American people will be able to see right through them and how they didn't come to the table 3 times to make sure that furlough workers got paid. Mm-hmm. That's what they're not telling you. Listen, and when it comes to this President Donald J. Trump, he wants a border wall. He wants our country secure. Mm-hmm. And he gave them the opportunity by opening back up the government for them to come to the table to will and deal. And if they don't do that, they're going to be the ones looking crazy. So I don't care about Stacey Abrams or whoever. They can get whoever they want to. They can go to the bottom of the barrel or the top of the ladder. Don't make me no difference. The deal is we need border security.
That's right.
Yeah, but a lot of people feel that Pelosi and Schumer, the Democratic Party in general, won because President Trump caved.
No, he didn't cave. Well, see, what you all don't understand is President Trump is a negotiator.
Right.
So he didn't cave. They gonna cave. All he did was pave the way for the Democrat rats to fall right into the trap.
That's right.
He tried to get them to negotiate 3 times to make sure the government workers got paid. Mm-hmm. They wouldn't even come to the table for that.
Right.
So he had to open up the government to make sure they got paid. That makes sure that they come to the table. But if you don't, the American people gonna see who's playing politics, who's playing with the American people's lives when it comes to our national security and when it comes to border security.
What the president did is reposition himself. While the Democrats is playing checkers, President Trump is playing chess.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you this, see if I'm thinking properly. My suggestion for the State of the Union address, at least in the part that he's going to tackle border security and the immigration issue, was if there is no deal before then, and there might be, but if there isn't, would be to restate the compromise he proposed the weekend before last, because it's just so eminently reasonable. It contains so many things Democrats have previously supported and said they want. It is an overture from Republicans on to DACA families and so many Americans who support some sort of permanent resolution for those kids who were brought here by their parents. And I just think it's persuasive to most reasonable people who don't have an ideological bent or aren't consumed with Trump hate. So why not restate that if that's your best foot forward? And I wonder if you think that, and if you think not only in the State of the Union address should he restate the compromise he proposed, but on the
restate the compromise, he can restate all day. It's up to them to listen to what he's proposing and then move accordingly. And if they don't do that, what is the president supposed to do? Here's the deal. The president is asking for $5 point-something billion. Now, just this month alone, we've spent $18 billion on illegal aliens.
Right.
$18 billion. Give him the $5 point-something billion that he wants so that he can build this wall and give Border Patrol agents the resources that they need to do their job.
That's right.
You want these agents to do their job and take these people in, and these people are coming in with various disease and issues and conditions, but you won't give them the resources they need to do it. That's just like telling me, go paint the house, but you got my hands tied behind my back. Now, how I'm going to paint it? With my mouth? So I'm just like, we need to look at the bigger picture here. We're spending out all of these billions, taking in illegal alien, housing them in sanctuary cities. But all he asking for is $5 billion. Give him the $5 billion and solve that. We won't have to spend $18 billion a month or more.
okay, I get where you want to go, but my point is the president has this bully pulpit and he has these opportunities. He has an opportunity actually before the Super Bowl. He's agreed to do the traditional pre-Super Bowl interview with CBS, so he's got that national opportunity, and he's got the State of the Union address, and so this is an opportunity for him to be persuasive. So what's the most persuasive case for him to make in advance of the position he's trying to achieve?
Tell the people the truth. Let them know what's going on at the border. Let them know how drugs are poured into the border. Let them know what he's planning to do. Just like when he opened up the government, he laid out what he wanted to do. So let them know that. I agree with that. But what I want the Democrats and all Americans to understand and see, we're spending out too much money here. And this problem can be solved. And when you have the top two leaders who are Democrats that don't want to solve this, then how much of a kickback paddywhack, give a dog a bone are you getting? How are you profiting from this border being open? And that's what we need to look at. It's about solving problems instead of playing games. And Chuck and Nancy is playing games.
That's right.
So the State of the Union, much anticipated, is going to be next Tuesday. What do you want to hear from President Trump?
What we always
and will you
hear,
ladies be
we
there?
need to secure the border and tell the truth, and then show the American people how the Democrats are not working for them. You know, a lot of these Democrats were so-called, quote-unquote, elected to do a job for the American people, but they're so bent out of shape on working for illegal aliens. That's a problem for Americans. Most Americans want a wall. Most Americans want to be secured in their country. And so we need to go ahead, put forth the 5-point whatever billion to build it and keep it moving.
And then he also need to go ahead on and lay out and show us how everything that he's already implemented have benefited Americans for the betterment of all Americans. Let us see how the tax cuts have worked. Let us see how different things that he's implemented have worked in this country and benefited us. Look at what he's done in the last 2 years. He's done more in 2 years than Obama did in 8 years. Let us see all of that. Let us know all of that. And then we can watch Nancy's face. Last year it looked like a prune. This year it looked like a raisin.
That's right.
You know what would be funny, too, just along the lines of what you're suggesting, Diamond and Silk, with Howard Schultz's announcement that he's contemplating an independent run for president, and so many people being critical of the president's tax cuts and other successes like you're describing. Starbucks said in January 2018 statement, this is Starbucks reacting to the tax cuts. These offerings, the tax cuts, will total more than $250 million from more than 150,000 partners and are accelerated by recent changes in the U.S. tax law. The Starbucks, basically, how the Starbucks benefited and agreed that it benefited greatly, and so did its partners, 150,000 partners, meaning locations, benefited from the Trump tax cuts. That'd be a nice little hoist by your own petard to send that back in Howard Schultz's direction during the State of the Union address, wouldn't it?
Well, absolutely. And not only did Starbucks benefit, but Americans, average Americans also benefited from the tax cut, too.
That's
so
right.
That needs to also be put out there as well. I get tired of hearing people talk about they want to tax the rich. The rich is the one that employ people. If you have millions of dollars, you have employees. So instead of taxing the rich half to death, how about we take that money and pass that down to the employees instead of the government thinking that they can take it with this here socialistic ideas from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and that old Elizabeth Warren.
That's right. And if we stop funding sanctuary cities with taxpayers' dollars, if we stop funding illegal aliens with taxpayers' dollars, that money can come back to America, into America's pockets, and we don't have to be talking about taxing the rich just to do these social programs just to fund those. It's time for that money to come back to America. We can pay down our deficit, and we don't have to worry about doing all of these taxing on everybody.
And when you talk about taxing the rich, it reminds me of sharecropping.
Yeah.
You work all week, and then the man come to you and say, oh, well, you know you got to pay for this, you know you got to pay for that, and they only leave you with a few coins after you done pulled yourself up by your bootstraps and you done attained the American dream. If you going to take my money after I've obtained the American dream, then I'm not going to have any kind of push or pull to want to obtain it.
That's right.
All right.
Some things make me mad, and listen, listen, it's just common sense. I love this president because he's using common sense. The American people is thinking about it a different way, and you got these elites, they don't like it, and that's why they're doing everything they can to destroy this president, because he's using common sense to solve problems. He's about solving problems. He's not no all talk, no action president. You have Democrats, they don't take action, and they go missing in action, and we're tired of it.
Hey, Diamond and Silk, I think, Arsenio all had things that make you go, I think you should do a segment on your Fox Nation, things that make you go, duh. How about that?
I love it. I just may do that. I love it.
Yeah.
Diamond and Silk, Trump supporters, host of The Viewer's View, stars of the new documentary Dummycrats, and of course you can catch them on Fox Nation as well. Diamond and Silk, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Always
stay warm.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
You too.
Well, they're in the Carolina. They're fine.
Yeah, no, this cold snap is stretching far down past Illinois. The ladies joined us, by the way, on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.